of ground meat has about almost 300 calories. And that's for 4 ounces. 4 ounces of 80% ground meat is almost 300 calories. 4 ounces of 96% ground meat is 140-ish, 150. Literally half the calories.
Right.
It has a little bit more protein in it. And basically what I'm saying is you could have 8 ounces of 96% ground meat for basically the same or a little bit less calories than 4 ounces of the 80%.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of
Men Suffer in Silence.
Today is going to be a very exciting show. Roscoe, tell them our special guest is today.
Listen, we're going to start off. I'm going to let Brian tell you exactly who he is and what he does right now.
I love it.
Wait, Brian.
All right. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for having me so much. I'm Coach Brian Parana. Guys, how often you look in the mirror and just don't feel like you used to? I'm 42. That age is starting to creep up on me, and I don't like it. I'm not going to lie. I have 4 kids. My 2 oldest are now faster than me. I've ran a sub-3 marathon. I've ran in the 16s for 5K. Well, I've done a 50-mile race. Like, what the heck? How are they faster than me now? Jeez.
Yeah,
But
it's a little scary.
It is. So who's Brian? I'm 40. I'm going to be 43 here in just over a month. I've been in the health, fitness, nutrition industry for the last 23 years. It started off, wow, I could get paid to work out. This is awesome. I was doing the phenomenal abdominal ab class back at the YMCA in 2002, 2003. From there, it ended up just evolving. When I look back, it looks like it's just a rolled out carpet in a sense of I did that. Then I got into the exercise nutrition degree in college. I got a personal training. I ended up opening up 2 CrossFit gyms, 2010 to 2015. And then the last 10 plus years or so, I've been just doing online health coaching. And who am I personally? I've married my high school sweetheart. We're 19 years deep in marriage with 4 kids, 16 to 10, 3 boys, and then the girl. Being a provider is a very strong undertone for me. Being there for my family, go to every single event I possibly can. Being a good leader, showing my boys what it is to be a man. And that's really important. I focus a lot on men lately. We're busy, and oftentimes what resonated coming onto this show is that men are suffering in silence. I see that a lot of 40-year-old guys are dealing with the same stuff I am. Stacked up responsibilities and career and family and bills and all these things, and they're self-sacrificing their health to manage those things. And I'm here to say, hey guys, you can do it all, but we need to take care of ourselves first. Just like our super women on the other end, they need to take care of themselves first too, to be able to give to others. So that's what Brian is all about.
I love it, man.
Brian,
I love it.
I'm telling you, you talking some good stuff. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy because I actually just hit 50 this year. Just to see over the last 10 years how I've changed, my body has changed.
Right.
And different things, like you say, you notice, you're getting a little slower, you're getting a little bit more tired, and and you're going to the doctor and you're real antsy because you're not sure what the doctor's going to say, and you're going to need to be on these medications and this. It's pretty crazy, and it made me realize that men suffering in silence with health is a real big thing, because 100%. We don't really want to acknowledge that we're changing.
No.
We see that we're changing. We feel that we're changing. And it's not something where you really want to talk to your significant other or your kids.
Right.
Guys, I'm slowing down. I'm getting tired. I can't.
You know what I mean?
Fast. Yeah, right, right. And then it turns into you can't eat that, don't eat this and that. So it's like a lot involved in it, man.
It is.
So
just deal with that.
This is going to be a very powerful show, because I myself have a lot of questions for you. So this is going to be a very, very powerful one.
I answer questions all day long.
I love it.
About health, nutrition, taking care of all sorts of things.
I love it.
Well, let's jump into it. So first question we got for you, the high performer trap. You work with a lot of entrepreneurs and executives. You do find many of these men that use business success to mask the fact that they're suffering physically and mentally. How's that? How does that happen?
as we get older, we shift some of our identity. And when you acquire more things, then that becomes your identity oftentimes. Oh, look at my house, look at my car, I got the clothes, I got all we acquire. And we are in a capitalistic consumer mentality in the culture that we live in, and it's really easy to get caught up in that trap, keeping up with the Joneses in a sense, and how much you make is how much you're worth. And when you identify with that or just get caught up in that type of attitude or behavior or energy, then yeah, you're going to stay up later. You're going to work harder. You're going to push to make another zero in your paycheck or in your company, or sacrifice family time to go work more. And oftentimes, as we know, it probably isn't necessarily productive work. I get caught up in that all the time of like, oh, I need to go work. No, I actually don't, but I feel this compulsion to, because I am a driven man that wants to be successful. But we also have to define what success is, and it can range from a wide number of things. And through coaching people for so long, the first question I always have to ask people is, what defines you being successful? Oftentimes everyone thinks, oh, I lost 10, 50 pounds or whatnot, but there's so many other things that come up with success, of being in relationship success or just happiness. There are really, poverty-stricken people that are happier than the majority of American males, because they are with community. They are at peace with themselves. They get their basic needs met, and they don't need to worry about it. They're not caught up in all this. So that I see it a lot.
That's an amazing answer. You hit the nail on the head. I resonated with that.
I felt like I was talking directly to
Same here.
you know what I'm saying?
Same here.
Wow.
So breaking the silence, it can be hard for men, especially leaders, to admit they need help. What is usually the breaking point where it finally convinces a man to reach out to you?
I think it got brought up a little bit earlier of, you're going to go to the doctor and you're not sure what they're going to say. Right? That's the ultimate in silence type piece, because no one's going to know except you and your doctor of what's going on under the hood, so to speak. And when you show up and you're worried, if even if you are at a healthy body weight, you could still be at risk for type 2 diabetes based on how you eat, based on how you take care of yourself. Just because of that, you are not less at risk in a sense. And there's very common chronic illness that I see a lot, is becoming pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. Your A1C levels go up, your triglycerides, your blood sugar levels, your cholesterol, blood pressure. These are very basic warning signs that are saying, hey, you need to do an about face. Now, when you go to the doctor wants you to do a lifestyle change, right? The doctor wants you to be in better health. How many times do you end up going to the doctor and say, well, can you lose some weight? Well, I think we've been on this. The problem is they're ill-equipped to manage that, right? Because of the system that they are in. Especially if they are an insurance provider or taker, they can only, in a sense, or they're limited. So I'll leave it at that. They're limited in their capacity of just even time spent with someone. And therefore, they have to triage. If any of you guys or me walk in and I have high blood pressure, I can give this person a pill and it will bring their blood pressure down immediately, like overnight, which then gives you a higher likeliness of survival and less risk of dying and having other complications. Same with cholesterol, same with the diabetes, get metformin. And that is the model that we use. And of course they want it, but oftentimes guys will come to me with their blood panels and say, hey, my doctor says my whatever's too high. And then they just gave me a 1-page paper saying, eat this, not that. And
it's not enough.
It's not enough. It's you're lost just as much as you went in, not realizing that you were under chronic illness, and now you know that you have to identify with being. Does any of you three guys or anyone listening want to raise their hand? I'm a type 2 diabetic, or I'm a walking heart attack. If you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and you're overweight, you are a walking heart attack. At some point, your likeliness and increased risk is there. And so that's going to be one of the first things, or it's going to come at a time where you're going into a meeting or you're meeting with someone, you're playing with your kids and anatomy issues, your stomach's in the way, your fitness and capacity just isn't there. You're 3 steps behind when you only thought you were 1 step behind. Just intimacy. You're just not as confident as you once were because of how your body feels or how your body is responding to poor health situations. So those are going to be some of the main beginning pieces where guys say, wow, I need to do something about this. So that, the average male lives till 76. That's just basic fact. I'm 43 here soon. I'm not good to go in a 35-ish years. I'm good to stay 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Wow. So, I feel like I was definitely suffering in silence. I hit all those that he said.
I got 20 years left.
Same here, So it's like, man, you got to make them the best. So, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What is it? Okay, so how can I say this? When it comes down to it, and you have men out there that are suffering in silence, they've already gone to the doctor, they've already talked to the doctor, and the doctor's saying, you're at risk for this, that, and this. And then they're looking around in the different age groups, and they're seeing some of the guys that are out of shape, that are just living life like them, and some of the guys that are in great shape, but those guys are kind of dying off too. So it's almost kind of like, where do you kind of get where the motivation to say, well, where am I going to fit in here?
Right. A quick question is, do you feel like you'll be more likely to stay alive longer if you're unhealthy or if you're healthy and fit?
Makes sense.
Pretty
Healthy and
simple,
fit.
right?
Makes sense.
Healthy and
Makes
fit.
sense.
If you start walking and moving your body, you're burning calories. Your bodies are meant to move. It's not meant to just sit at a desk or lay in a bed all day long or stare at screens, right? That's what our society has become.
Right.
I'm guilty as it too, as being an online entrepreneur. I was sharing my podcast is called Driven for Health. I will be releasing my 30th episode from September 23rd, and the release date will be somewhere around December 7th.
Okay.
That's 900 plus minutes of staring at my computer into this mic, talking about all things health, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, behavior changes. That's a lot of time that I could have been out walking with my wife and my dog, or playing with my kids, or just not working.
Right.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
So where at on the scale do you want to be? Do you want we know that if you are 10, 20, 30 pounds overweight, your inherent risk climbs rapidly toward chronic illness and disease. If you have chronic illness and disease, you are even less likely to live longer. Look around. People with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, yes, there are anomalies and that can live to 90 plus, but you're not really going to see a 300 plus pound 76-year-old guy. Something's coming for you.
Yeah.
Even the common cold is trying to take you out this winter.
At this point.
Yeah, I saw a guy in the restaurant the other night. He was 92, 93, and he was a slim guy. And I looked at him and I looked at me and I said, yeah.
Gotta make a change. Gotta make a change.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
I ain't gonna make it.
and real quick with that, got to make a change. It literally most of the time is a W squared. Walking in water. Those are we're talking about basic, simple things that I get people to do. They know what they need to do. They're not doing it.
Right.
How do we create sustainable systems and processes that fit into daily habits and behaviors that get you to act healthier? And we start with simple incremental things, because 1% better is a real thing. James Clear says it in his Atomic Habit book. Right. And we can see that through all sorts of different coaching and mentorship things. It's like, okay, here's where we're at. Let's get over this hurdle first before we start tackling this other thing down here, because it's irrelevant if you can't just drink 100 ounces of water, if you can't get 10K steps in. Those are basic underlying. The other ones, it's the core 4. We've got walking or moving your body, 10K. Right. We need to drink 100 ounces or more water. We need to sleep ideally 7+ hours. You could get away with 6, but again, look at creatures living in the world. They sleep. right? If they, as long as they don't get eaten, they sleep.
That's true.
And they can last a long time because they stay rested. They are recovered. And then we've got the nutrition, and nutrition is simple. It breaks into two basic things: food choice, portion control. That's the simplicity of it. We don't have to get, I need to do this diet versus that diet. I need to eat this list, not that list. That's not it. I need to just make better choices than I did last week around what I'm going to eat and put in my mouth. And then I have to just practice portion control. I mean, literally, guys, just take out a measuring cup and start serving yourself out of that. And you will start to see the dramatic changes in body composition through just eating less. And eating more of what's appropriate for your body, especially with what you're moving as. Right. You only need so much energy if you are moving 4,000 steps a day. We don't need 2,000, 2,500 calories for that amount of movement, unfortunately.
Wow. Right. You know, it's funny because he said walking in water, which my doctor has fired me from the practice 2,578 times. And the funny part about it is she actually watches our podcast. So I told her that, you know, Brian was coming on. So she's going to watch this and she's going to call me. She's going to say, I told you.
I told you so. I told you so. And just think about your partner, your spouse, your wife, your lady. Yeah. They've been telling you, and then Brian shows up, and then he tells you, and you listen, and then you get that. I told you so. And I'll warn guys, just so you know, you might get some grief from your wife because you're going to do the things that I tell you to do, and we just met a little bit ago. Right. But your wife or significant other. Years. Yes, exactly.
Blame Brian.
Question for you, Brian. So weight has never been an issue in my life. My dad was small built. I'm 160 pounds, and that's about where I stay. Okay. When you say portions, are we talking about small portions 4 or 5 times a day, or once or twice? What are we talking, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah. Let's break it down real nice and easy. Most guys, we have a energy balance need. Weight maintenance we'll call X. X plus is gain, X minus is losing weight. So first things first, if you are at a steady weight, you are at a calorie maintenance level. Play that out 2, 3, 4 weeks. If you maintain the same weight, plus or minus a little bit, right? The scale's always going to fluctuate. That's your calorie maintenance. And so therefore, if you want to lose weight, then we would eat a little bit less. 200-300 calories. It's not a lot. You don't have to do 1,000 less calories and do these crazy carbs, no carb things or whatever, or a named diet. That's not truth. If the only time we want to gain weight is if we're putting on muscle, right?
Right.
Right. But unfortunately, in our 40s and 50s and beyond, it's a lot harder to do so. And you have to spend more time in the gym. But we find that calorie maintenance. Now, most guys or most people I've ever worked with, me included, are eating 3 to 4 meals in a day, regardless of whatever you call them. You could call them breakfast, lunch, brunch, dinner, the fourth meal, Taco Bell style at 2 a.m. or something. But we're eating 3 or 4 times a day that we're putting food in our mouth. And if you have a balanced meal that's built around basic, grandma had it right, a protein, a vegetable, and a starch, and about a 500-ish to 600-ish calorie on average for those 3 or 4 meals, you're gonna be just fine. Wow. And that's it. And we're talking about, so those 3 categories of protein is lean protein sources. We don't want to have fatty protein sources because they add a lot more calories and a lot more fat to your diet. So I'm not saying you always have to eat chicken breast over chicken thigh. You can have plenty of chicken thigh, or even I like 90% ground meat or leaner, ground meat being any ground meat. We can have salmon, we can have eggs, we can have a whole milk type dairy sources, say cottage cheese or yogurt. We just don't want to have them in a lot of quantity because a super easy example is 80 ounces of ground meat has about almost 300 calories. And that's for 4 ounces. 4 ounces of 80 98% ground meat is almost 300 calories. 4 ounces of 96% ground meat is 140-ish, 150, literally half the calories.
Right.
It has a little bit more protein in it. And basically what I'm saying is you could have 8 ounces of 96% ground meat for basically the same or a little bit less calories than 4 ounces of the 80%. And when you know and understand nutrition, then you start making better choices. Oh, wow, I can have a half pounder sandwich here, burger, and get 50 grams of protein. Whereas my counterpart, I'm going to get more fat than protein because it is a fat source. So I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but so we have lean protein sources, we have vegetables and fruit. I call it the fibrous carb category. We want, think of a plate too. So we have one plate, we've got a quarter of it protein, a quarter of it starch, and half of it fruit and vegetables. Basic, easy concepts to be able to work with. Oh, lots of fruits and vegetables, more than you think, will always fill you up. And then I like to say it like this: equal amounts of protein and starchy carb. They should look similar.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's a reasonable thing. So when you look at a plate, half of it's piled high with vegetables and maybe a piece of fruit, and the protein and carb are similar in size. And that's a good portion. So we went through food choices, portion control, and you can eat any starch. Everyone's, I need to, if someone says, hey, I don't eat bread or I cut out sugar to lose weight, I think they're stuck in the 90s.
Wow.
Right? Because you've not updated your software around what nutrition is. And that's the only thing I ever talk about. It's not this food versus that food, or guys, what's healthy? Can any of you define what healthy is or what clean eating is?
I hear these terms all the time.
I would say vegetables.
Well, no junk food, no fast food, no processed food.
Yeah, generally, those are very general, easy things to assume. Ask 10 people and you're going to get 10 different answers about what healthy is or isn't. And I always say that it's a subjective term, and we want to look at food objectively. Meaning don't look at the front of the label that has $1 extra per cost to advertise that thing, and that's why it's more expensive, and a brand name on the shelf at the grocery store, and it says healthy, and it even talks to you when you walk by it. Buy me, I'm super healthy, right? But if we turn them around and look at the objective, this is the nutrition label. This is the owner manual to that package of food, of what's in it and how much of it you should eat. Once you understand that, then, actually this healthy option is actually more calories and doesn't have as good of a macros or protein, carbs, fats than product B that's actually $1 cheaper. And we should be getting this product, not this one, because this is a brand name and it's colorful and it's flashy and it gets advertised and you see it on TV and you have brand awareness and attention on that thing. So there's some other things about what is healthy and clean. I always like to joke about this, but do you guys wash your food before you eat it? Is that what makes it clean or not?
Yeah. I've heard that many times too.
Right? Yeah. So there's no clean eating. But if I understand that a cup of pasta is 200 calories and 40 carbohydrates, that gives me context of how much pasta I can eat at any one sitting. And then also helps me understand what else I can eat in that day to still get pasta in. If we're having pasta tonight with my family, which we do easily 1 or 2 times a week, I know how much to put on my plate in a reasonable amount that I can have pasta with my family, and I eat everything that my family doesn't even. So we eat dinner and then I'm eating leftovers 3 days later, it feels like, because with a family of 6, you don't throw food away.
Right.
But it doesn't matter if pasta or French toast, or we go out to eat tonight, or we have, Mexican style. It doesn't matter what is there. I'm going to put an appropriate amount of food on my plate to then be able to eat it and feel just fine after and wake up the next day weight stable.
Right.
So, question with that.
Yeah.
I am guilty of eating and going to bed.
Oh, okay.
Going to bed on a full stomach is like,
yeah. You just like going to the carb coma for 8 hours, right? It's wonderful.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?